Hi everyone, it's Kevin from Real Born Flips, and just a couple of things to touch on today. Got a couple of what solds that went out today. 4 items actually. The first one is kind of a follow-up to a previous video where I talked about my refrigerator that broke and I had to buy a new one. So I stripped all the sellable parts off the old fridge, and the first item sold, and it was a small glass cover for a little crisper section. And that piece went out for $29.88 plus shipping. So I think that's puts me about 1% towards my goal of paying for the new fridge. If you've bought a fridge lately, you know what I'm talking about. The second item was a mini DV camcorder, and this was a JVC model. When I first got into reselling and I was buying things, I was selling lots and lots of Sony camcorders. That's the kind I have. I have a Digital 8, and so I was buying a lot of Sony 8mm high 8 Digital 8 and selling quickly, making little packages for people to transfer their family tapes to some other format. I just have so many of these. I finally got around to testing the JVC mini DVs that I have, and to be honest, most of them weren't working. Most of them had this safe mode error. If you've tried selling these, you know what that safe mode error is. There's all kinds of videos that tell you how to fix that problem. That fix did not fix any of mine. But this model wasn't one that I guess was plagued by that. This was actually a pretty nice model, a little bit bigger camera than the smaller ones that seem to have the safe mode issue. And I had a whole, had a case, 2 batteries, charger, brand new tape, even a JVC tape, the instruction booklet. And so that was a nice little package with the cables. And that went out for $124.88. So a good sale. Hopefully it doesn't come back. I'll update you on that if it does. Some items like this seem to come back after the project has been completed, if you know what I mean. So got my fingers crossed on that one. The next item was a international sale for a Logitech TrackMan trackball mouse. I buy these all the time, and I typically get them at my local Goodwill. It's like one of the few items that they don't price up. I think they don't understand what they're worth. And I paid, I think it was $5.50 for this one, and it went out for $49.88 plus shipping international, so it's not coming back. But it was nice condition. The last item was I actually purchased this just a couple houses down at my neighbor's garage sale. This was part of a large set of Legos, and they had, I think, 4 or 5 different just bins full of Legos, nothing associated with a set, but just bins. So I made an offer for all of them, and I think I ended up paying $30 for all of the Legos. But I could see minifigures, I could see, Star Wars, there was some Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then when I got home, I had my son kind of sort through it, and he found a bunch of the Black Pearl, a bunch of the minifigures from the Black Pearl. So he's putting together whatever he can sort together into parts. But I did list a couple of the sets of minifigures, and this set that sold for $24.88 was really just kind of some generic figures, some Christmas figures, some just regular people figures, nothing that we could tie to a particular set or theme. So just a small little 5-ounce pile of Legos went out for $24.88. So I think I'm close to breaking even on my $30 purchase of Legos. So those were the 4 items that went out. And then I'll cover a couple of things that I got in the last 2 days at my Goodwill. I have 2 different Goodwills. I have one in my city and then in the city next to me, but I drive through there every day on my way back and forth from work. So the stuff I got at my Goodwill, the one that I typically don't get anything good at, The first item I got, if you've ever sold these, you know what this is, and yes, you know what this is. It's a vintage massager. This is a Hitachi double massager. I've sold the standard kind of stick massagers, Hitachi, vintage Hitachis before. So when I saw this, I knew that 10 bucks or $11 for this after tax was a good purchase. It does work. And this goes, the comps were a little varied, but I'll easily get $60 for that. So 10 to 60, that's not bad for my Goodwill. The other item I got was this, if you can see it, it's a Rubbermaid Fast Track rail set. So basically you get a bunch of pieces to this rail set and you can buy other parts to add to your system. But this was sealed. I did open it to confirm the contents, and it was also $10 or $11 with tax. And the comps on this were about $60 with shipping. So two good purchases for my local Goodwill, which I have had a love-hate relationship with. The other thing that was kind of interesting is they installed a self-checkout machine there, which the camera on it is very prominent. You look at yourself on the screen almost the entire time because it's recording your image as you check out. But it was much faster than waiting in line. They only had one person working and had several people waiting for that person. They didn't want to use this self-checkout. So that actually worked pretty well. So I have to keep that in mind when I'm in there, to definitely use that if I can. So those were the two items at my local Goodwill. The neighboring Goodwill, what I got, so as I just mentioned, selling that Logitech TrackMan mouse, here's one I just got at the neighboring Goodwill. This was $660 after tax. And I usually sell these in the neighborhood of $40 to $50, just like the other. It was a different model, but similar to what I just sold. So that was a good buy. I also got this. This is a fast forward rewind VHS rewinder, so both directions. I typically don't buy these. This was $5.99 plus tax. But this was green tag, was $1.99 day, so I was able to grab this for just $1.99, which was good. And then the last thing I grabbed was this bag of Fisher-Price Little People, and I don't normally grab these, but in this case I grabbed this one because I could see a lot of the figures from the Nativity set. And so I have a whole bunch of these in another, I just kind of pile them into a box, and then eventually I'll piece together whatever I can get that is similar and then sell a lot. This was $10, so a little high for what I normally would do, but because it had the nativity pieces in there, I bought that. So those were my solds and my purchases from my local or from Goodwill. The other thing I wanted to mention was I actually made a purchase. It's not here yet, but I made a purchase from Shop Goodwill. And I've bought in a few things. I've had some success, some not so good. And I'll probably do some separate videos just on that stuff because I'm interested to hear what other people's, the results that other people are having with using that, service. I realize their whole attempt is to drive resellers out of business by undercutting, but in some cases you can get stuff still at good prices for resale. The item that I bought, I haven't gotten it yet, but it did ship today, is looks just like this. It's similar, actually the same model, but if you've ever seen one of these, this is an HP Hewlett-Packard HP 41. This is a CX, and that's what I bought. And the one that I got came in a case just like this. I think I paid $170 for it, and I have my reseller permit with them, so I don't pay tax when I purchase through them. And I think the shipping was about $10 or $12. The one I got came with, as you can see, these have modules in the back. The one I bought came with 3 different modules, kind of like this one also has 3 in it. But one of the modules that I got was an HP Advantage module. Now, I'm an engineer, and when I started college, so way back in 1989, I went to a community college, and the first day of class, first engineering class, Intro to Engineering, I think Engineering 123 for you engineers out there. First day, the professor walks in, he pulls this HP 41 out of his, I think he had it in his pocket even, pulls it out, and he says, you need to get one of these, and then he dropped it onto his desk, and then he picked it up, and he turned it on, and he started using it. And so that weekend, I drove over from my house across Puget Sound over to Seattle to the University of Washington bookstore, and I put down my $209, I think it was, for an HP 41CX, and I got a free HP Advantage pack. That was a special they had. So this Advantage pack, it turns out just that Advantage pack right now is selling for about $150 plus shipping. So this calculator I'm getting, whether it works or not, the modules, typically you don't have problems with them. I mean, I'll have to test it, but most likely it works. So for the $190 that I spent after shipping, I've already got a $150 item that's part of that. The other 2 modules, one was structural analysis, which sells for about $50, and then a math statistics pack, which also sells for $40 to $50. So just in the modules alone, I'll make back what I spent, and then hopefully the calculator works. If it doesn't work, I'll still get probably $100 or more just for the calculator itself, and then these cases sell for about $25 to $30. So when I say that you can still get good stuff at Shop Goodwill for reselling, I mean, you have to know what you're seeing. I've actually bought several HP calculators from Shop Goodwill. I bought another HP 41, actually 2 I think I've gotten. Both of them have worked, and I paid less than what I can sell them for. The last item that I bought from Shop Goodwill, HP calculator wise, did not work. I was really disappointed because this was an HP 42S, and so you HP calculator guys know what this is. This is working conditions, very valuable calculator, but for people who were raised on the HP 41, this was like this, kind of like the successor final model that had similar features. So I was really hoping that worked. So I'm hopeful I can get it working, but putting new batteries in did not get it working. Not done with HP calculator stuff though. Last 2 weeks ago, I went to a rummage sale here in town, and I've talked about this before. It's kind of they call it the free rummage sale, but it's a donation. And so I got in relatively soon after they opened, and went into like where they keep the electronics, and I was really surprised to see HP calculator laying on the table. And so I grabbed it, and in this sale you just you get your bags and then you make a donation. So in this case, I knew I had an HP calculator that probably worked. This one's probably worth about $60. So not huge dollars, but what was neat was when I turned it around, there's a name written on the back here, and it's actually someone that I used to work with, and they are retired now. So it was neat to see that I have their calculator. As I mentioned, when I was in college, I had that HP 41, and then when I got into advanced math and matrices and a little bit heavier duty math, working with different calculations, especially matrices or different higher level math, I ended up getting an HP 28S, which was the next model after this 28C. Same, I think it just had more memory. But so it's kind of neat. These were the two calculators that got me through college, and so I always look out for this stuff. If you don't know HP calculators, I'll probably do another video where I just go through some of the stuff. I have a ton of stuff that I've collected over the years, and I'm starting to sell, and I have sold tons of it already. But it's kind of near and dear to my heart, the HP quality stuff. This was, if you don't know anything about that, the history of those, I mean, these HP 41s, these went up with the space shuttle, the early space shuttle launches, because these were more powerful than the computer that was on the space shuttle. So lots of history of those. But as a reseller, you should always have your eye out for stuff like that. And it just looks like a regular calculators. People buy TI 84s all the time and sell them because they do make good money. But the vintage stuff is really desirable to collectors. So I'll do a separate video on some of that HP stuff. So the last thing I wanted to mention, and maybe you can tell me how you handle these two things. One of them is a YouTube thing. I've been doing YouTube videos for about a month now, trying to do at least a couple a week, maybe a short here or there. But I noticed that the feedback that I get, I don't get a lot of comments, but I do appreciate getting comments, and I do respond. But I'll get like a thumbs up on videos. But for some reason I get thumbs down, and I'm curious, how if you make your own videos, what kind of feedback you get. I'd love to, if I'm going to get a thumbs down, I'd love to know what the thumbs down was for. Was it my production value? Did I say something that was incorrect? Did I say something controversial? The last short I did was about using my packing slips to just as a little extra check for myself to make sure the thing I'm packing in the box is the actual one I sold. Many times I sell things that are very similar, and I had an occurrence where I shipped the wrong item. It was so similar I thought it was the right one. If I had just double checked, I wouldn't have made that mistake. So I use my packing slip just as a little check. Yep, I got the right item. And for some reason I got like 3 negative feedbacks on that. I can't figure out what the negatives were for. So if you're about to give me a negative on this, please comment and say, here's why I gave the negative. I don't mind negatives as long as I can use them to improve my videos. And then the other thing that I was going to ask was, how do you handle as a reseller? And right now I only really do eBay, but how do you handle when you get messages, maybe an offer that's not quite what you want, and so you decline it, and then they come back with another offer, a little bit more, and then you give them a counter offer and say, hey, this is as low as I can go. And then they give you another offer lower than that. And then they tell you a story about why you should sell it to them. In this case, I have a Keytar, a Yamaha Keytar, that I have listed for $250. I've sold these before. I shouldn't have any problem getting $225. It's nice in the box. And this person offered me $175 and said, I hope you take my offer. After I had already responded to their $160 offer and said, I can't sell this for less than $225. And so I responded kindly and said, sorry, I can't really do that. But just curious, if you're a reseller, how you respond to types of questions like that. Either maybe my son's sick, dying of cancer, and would really like this. I seem to get that one a lot. And maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But in the end, I'm doing this as a business to support my family, so I can't really be a charity as well. Curious how you guys respond to that stuff. But please, if you like this video, please like it. If you don't like this video, please dislike it, but tell me what you didn't like, so I can improve these things. And then if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That helps me kind of move the, move the needle on getting my videos seen. I am trying to build this, and so I've been going for almost a month now. And I'd like to improve these, provide content people want to see. So please give me your thoughts, give me your comments, give me your questions. I'll respond to those, and please let me know what you think. And come back next time. But thank you for joining me this time.